What? Hold on a second. Looks like your broadcast was deleted on the YouTube. Try creating it. No, no, no. Or just remove. No, 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 no. What the hell are you talking about? Some destinations won't get comments. Yeah. Uh, oh, we are live. Okay, we seem to be on YouTube. Hang on. Okay, no, I think we're good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Very, very excited to see how you do all of this.
Yeah, that should be fun.
What are we looking at here?
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at digital food things. So I had like a data. So basically, what I did is turn food into color into sound. So going over.
Food into color into sound.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So what you see is what you're eating and what you're seeing. So like you are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing that into like a whole nother level. You are what you see, what you eat.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to fix this YouTube issue. Hang on a second.
No problem.
Very strange. This is not showing on YouTube right now.
It's not showing.
No, well, but then when I go to YouTube, it says
About
to start in 7 minutes. So it might just be the way that they.
sometimes you have to go live. Like you have to go in and then override it.
Through StreamYard, you mean, or?
Oh, sometimes through YouTube.
Yeah, I can only do it through StreamYard because I think you have to have like.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see in 7 minutes. If not, then I'll duck out and fix it because it's saying try to create a new broadcast, but that link has already been. It's already out there. So yeah. I guess it's the same as we started last week, maybe with Sonia, just asking like what your how you use open source or stuff in the public domain, where you find it, what's changed about where you find it, and how you play with it.
Yeah, why not? What questions do you have for me?
Just where do you find the stuff? Where do you find the stuff that you play with?
Where's the start of your process?
Googling, Twittering, Instagramming. Like honestly, the internet has a lot of greatness and a lot of badness. The internet's random, but it seems that I have attracted randomness throughout. So like, you know how some people like the algorithm, like if you see what ads I get, they're so random. Like sometimes it thinks I'm in Africa, sometimes it thinks I'm in Asia or Oceania, just by the people I follow or what I like. So I start off there, and then sometimes I just try to go to see what images I can replicate. And most of the time I just experiment, right? So, and I think it also helps that I know a lot of people that have developed tools. So one of the things that I really do is like take their tools and try to break it in like a meaningful way. So I like to try to like be like, I'm gonna show you there's like a cumbia type stuff. And what do I do in that case? I do what I always do, and I just change it to something else. So I guess I can showcase a bit of that. Hold up, I think I have to reshare my screen because I think I forgot to press share audio. I know I did. All right, so yeah. So we can start off a bit of that. So right now what you're seeing on the screen, it says octo is ice grub. Because I used to say CC at 8 is, but the 8 you're supposed to pronounce it as 8 in Espanol. So yeah, and this was made by Luis Navarro out of McMaster. And yeah, and it's supposed to be cumbia-ish. So this is how it sounds. And then here's another one. So you see the type of sounds it's supposed to do, right?
Sorry?
I said the type of sound comes off, right? You see the cumbia and all that it's supposed to represent. But of course, when I like to hear something, I try to make it sound totally different. So
Is the echo coming from? Are there two?
I think it's coming from.
Are you getting an echo?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was there. Yeah, gotta change the audio sources. But in the meantime, we're gonna listen to what my friend dubbed as a ballad because I like to slow things down when I do music. I don't know. I think slow music. I think it's also the way I edit. Sometimes slow is better than fast. So right now I'm just gonna even slow it down a bit, and then we're gonna get the vibe. Very ballady, right? But let's make it slower.
Even slower.
And why do I like this note? Because sometimes I feel like slowness draws out the emotion. Like imagine this was like the intro to a film. You're probably feeling sad right now, or probably thinking something might happen. Like just imagine this, and they're over a cliff, or they're like in a bus. You probably think it's the end. And this is why I also like code. Because you see, I don't have to change anything else, and I already changed everything dramatically, right? But now let's speed it up. So you see, if it's sped up, it sounds differently, right? This sounds like that Wild E. Coyote type music. You know that chasing music?
Yeah.
And that's how I do with like code, right? So how we were talking about before, like how do you digitally collage, right? So a lot of these open source live coding languages always have examples. So you see here, this is called Salsa Suave. That's the original, right? But now let's Illestpreacha it, right? So gotta slow it down. Gotta add some numbers here. And sometimes when I'm coding,
what are these numbers you're adding?
I just have played with this enough. But sometimes, honestly, when I play, I just look at how the other numbers go, and I go. So you see here, 2.5. Why not 3.5, right? Not 1.25. And when I go with other samples, you're going to understand why I go with small numbers. Because one time I was trying to do 1.00005 for whatever reason, and I actually accidentally did 1,500,000, and then I got flashing lights. Like, you know the song, flashing lights? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
just got it, and then I had to stop. So I learned, like,
Mhm.
really go with small numbers and check your periods. So right now, this number right
Okay.
here changes the sample. And let me add a 3-year. Let me add an extra P A A A A A A.
Hmm.
And that's what I'd really like to do, and why I call sometimes my life coding digital collaging. Because as you saw, I didn't really change the bass too much. I just added some numbers, changed the tempo, and we're already getting that vibe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let this play out a bit.
So once you're happy with like what you've done and how it's sounding, where do you go from there?
Okay, so from there, so I'm happy with this, right?
Mhm.
So since I am happy with this, what I'm gonna do next is record it. So how am I gonna do that? Go on my OBS. Let it go for a bit. Alright. 30 seconds is enough. 30 seconds is enough. Okay.
All right, 1 second. I just want to share the YouTube is having some issues, so I just want to say hello to folks who are watching on LinkedIn and Twitter. That are working fine. You're watching Watch Me Work, and we are here at Interaccess Gallery as well as online. Interaccess Gallery is here at 950 Dupont Street, and they have all kinds of amazing things for digital artists. You should definitely come check them out. I was sorry, I'm trying to figure out this YouTube thing. I might have to get out and contact StreamYard. Sorry, I just wanted to. So sorry.
No problem.
It's a little dead air while I look for little info about Interaccess. Yeah, for those of you who are not familiar with the space, Interaccess is a gallery, studio, and annual festival dedicated to emerging practices in new media art. So we're in the right place. Interaccess program. Interaccess offers a membership program which provides members with 24/7 access to their studio space and discounts on workshops. So this studio space has all kinds of has I think a 3D printer. It has Arduino stuff. It has some headsets if you play with Oculus and all of that. And you can also visit the studio space every Wednesday from 6 to 9 p.m. for totally free. Also want to say that this event is presented by Creative Commons Canada, and we are these events exist basically to show you how artists use the things that Creative Commons works to protect and keep open for everybody to remix and play. and Watch Me Work was made possible with the support of EQ Bank, who we love, and also who have an amazing Emerging Digital Artists Award. I'm not sure if you know of it. Either of you know of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So I am going to ask Sonia to introduce our lovely guest, and I'm going to duck out and try to figure out what's happening with YouTube and hope that I don't miss so many good things. Be right back.
All right. So today we have here Kofi Oduro, also known as the one and only Illestpreacha. He's a creative coder and experience enhancer who merges an array of mediums to provide unique experiences that promote discussion, reflection, and interaction. With over 10 years of performance, event production, and audiovisual output globally, he takes inspiration from creative endeavors that are not normally seen together to create a harmonic experience for audience and users alike. His artistic practice is an observation of the world around us that he puts into artworks for others to relate to or disagree with. Through videography, poetry, and creative coding, he tries to highlight the realms of the human performance and the human mind in different scenarios. These situations can be described as social, internal, or even biological, which we face in our everyday lives. Adding music and visuals often helps to perceive one's own feelings and to highlight the different subtleties that make us human. With a dose of technology, there is an endless range of progress in human creative endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think that is a wonderful description of what it is that you do. And I love that I've been following your work for a little bit now. And I love that every time I see a piece that you do, I'm like learning something new. I was telling Karen that it's like coding is like a whole, it is a whole other language. And for somebody like me who doesn't really quite understand the language, it is still really great to see you do the stuff that you do. So I'm really excited to see what you got going on today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And then I guess we have new people viewing or old people viewing. So now we're going to replay this track that I just did, like remix.
Did you sort of want to stay with this program or
so this is a language called Cis-8. I probably butcher it. Sorry, Luis. It's made by my friend Luis out of McMaster. This was a language he did for his PhD that is revolve around Latin dance music, or even urban Latin music, some call, and really take in the cumbia thing. And one thing I realized while playing with it, if you play with different tempos, you get different sounds. So this is if I have like a 27% speed, excuse me. Now if I speed it up like it was before, you get a bit of that salsa vibe.
Ooh.
And then even if I go more,
what are you adding there now?
You know, do, re, mi, fa. Like when you hear people like do the tone, so that's what I'm adding there. And now I'm gonna add some. And whenever you see me copy, that is because I always save my code somewhere. Always.
Like, how do you
Google
save
Docs,
them?
Notepad, video. I always make sure I have a copy of almost everything I write.
Oh, so how much do you have? How big is that file?
Oh, yeah, for poetry, it's like in the thousands, most likely. Code, probably thousands. I do every iteration. Like right now, I just saved 2 of the ones that we did online here have already been saved in a file.
Okay. And you just save them to the cloud? Do you back them up anywhere else?
Oh, yeah. Double back down on service if I'm on the road. So,
okay.
So that was just a little nice intro music, right? So, but now I'm just gonna shift gear. This is another tool that I have added before.
Yeah.
This is
Which
like a
tool?
JavaScript vocabulary generator. So I like doing this because sometimes we overthink what a language is or whatnot. So,
Mm-hmm.
what this is how I learned this from Sienna during one of their workshops
Mm-hmm.
where they told us how to make our own language and then we built rules for the language. So right now we're going to do the same thing and this is going to lead the whole thing.
Okay.
So
So this
so
is
right now
can,
this is a language. We like right now C is consonants, R's are rule vowels, but we don't need none of that. We're making our own.
okay.
So give me 5 letters that you want as consonants, Sonia.
Just five random letters.
Five random letters.
Um, S,
S,
R,
R,
M,
M,
N,
N,
and T.
T. Okay, that's good. Okay, good. That's good. All right. So let's go to vowels. What vowels do you want? And remember, this is our own language right now. So number of vowels, it could also include symbols. It could also include
Oh,
numbers, anything. Because this is why I got the chef hat and chef gloves. We're cooking up.
we're cooking.
We're
Wait,
cooking.
so
We're cooking.
it could
Could
be
be
like
anything.
anything. So I could say like a plus sign or like an exclamation point.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
could
let's
that
go.
be
Exclamation point, one vowel. What else? What else do you want?
um oh, this like any like can we do like an at
Anything.
symbol?
You said at?
Yeah. Like the
Okay.
at symbol.
Yeah.
An asterisk.
Okay.
um uh and then can I throw in like an actual vowel? Like just
Yeah,
something
yeah.
really
You control two or
an
three.
E,
E. What else?
Y. I
Y.
like
And
those.
then
Like and sometimes Y. And just go with the I.
okay, I. Okay. And now let's get some R. So R's are like liquids, which is like things that don't close your mouth. But for our case, they're like patterns. In our case, we're going to change the rule up because this is a language. So what
Okay.
patterns do we want in our language?
Like in what
Like
sense? Like what is an
CH.
example?
Do we want to see a CH? Do we want to see
Oh.
like sometimes we have some things that are silent, some things that are not.
Hmm. What is something that like you like if you were doing this, just like what is something that you would include right now?
I guess L, and I
Oh,
guess since we don't have A and A.
okay.
And then in our case, we're having E. E can stand for anything, but in our case, E stands for the wild card. So what wild cards do we want?
Oh,
What letters are we missing that we want to see?
a Z.
Z. Okay. Anything else?
X.
Okay. And one more.
I'm like at the end of that. A W.
Okay. 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 Good. So now I'm gonna put a word list.
Okay.
Drop off. We're gonna want molasses because that makes it like a slow, nice thing. Monosyllables. We're gonna do frequent. So what the monosyllables do, you know how like there's long words and short words, so this just helps with the long words, short words. Okay,
Okay.
these are the syllable types. So think about like CV. That means that like you see it would be like SE or S at. So we're going to keep the traditional ones, and now we're just going to add other combinations. There's no rhyme or reason for what I'm doing. And I know I should be going more into linguistics, but this is just more fun. Like if people do want to know more, there's a whole thing on linguistics, and this whole site does do a great job of getting into like how to build it. But for our purposes,
Mhm.
we're just going like ruthless, robust. So I think I have done a lot of different frequencies. So you see wordless. All I have to do is generate. Do I want drop off? Show syllables. So these are some of the words in our made up language, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
So now we're going to use some of this. So right now, when I'm doing this, because I do this to show people how we can have fun with code and bring code easily. So there is a language
Hmm.
that Sayaka out of NYU has made called Inverse Editor, and it's a
Hmm.
poetic language. So everything, so you write code out of poems. So see, have you ever wondered if I tried to wish on a star? And you see what happened in the background, and then if I
Hmm.
shuffle different things, right?
Okay.
So the word. So you see, if I go, then I could go. The fragments of the morning affect the way I make my money. If I look for danger and breathe through my soul, the glory of the ocean shall subdue. I don't know if you can see it. It's like go in and then I can do shuffle, shuffle, right? That's cool and all, but I just told us to make a language, right? So what we're gonna do is create your own word table. So this is something I have realized that we can do. So right now, what we're gonna do is that the language we just made foolishly, we're gonna do it to make things. And if anyone wants to follow along, this website is editor.inverse.website. And the other one is sample.
Editor.inverse.website.
And the other one is Sampost. So ZOMPIST.com/Jen. Yeah.
Okay. Can we put that into like the comments? Oh no.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
I think
So
that's a
don't
YouTube question when Karen gets
yeah,
back.
YouTube or any question even on the thing. So right now, you see what I'm gonna
Mhm.
do? I'm just
You're
gonna
just
take
copying
some
and pasting.
just copying and pasting.
Okay. Ooh.
And in the meanwhile, there's 40. So if you want to ask any questions while I copy and paste,
Hmm. So these words that we just created off of um, this language that like we're creating now, and so you're inputting these words that were created from the rules that we sort of came up with.
yeah,
And so you're attributing them to these what would I call I don't
values,
have the language to speak values. Okay.
values, and making
Okay.
them our keywords.
Okay.
And I like to do this whenever I do these creative coding stuff, just to show
Hmm.
people that
How did you get into creative coding? Like how like where did that start?
I got tired of regular coding, and then I wanted to do regular coding, but then I'm like, I
Hmm.
need to have a creative output, and I always wanted to build games, always wanted to code music. So then I
Hmm.
got into processing around 2014.
Hmm.
Very interesting, was making little animations and sound. Then I found something out about Sonic Pi and title cycles, got into it, and realized there's a whole
Hmm.
community that does live coding music. So I'm like, oh, I want to get good enough that I can make my own beat.
Hmm.
Like, my own beat to freestyle on.
Yeah.
Then I actually
Hmm.
did that. I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. But then on the path, I started realizing I can do animation.
Hmm.
I can do audio visual, I can do installation. So then I just
Yeah.
told myself I'm always going to try to mix everything together. So now when
Hmm.
I do performances where I mix like technical stuff like this, if you want to call this technical, like we're going to build a language and people are like, "Really?" and then I use tools that other people have built, and then it
Yeah.
starts becoming a discussion on what is language. Just think about it
Mm-hmm.
every day. Every day we code ourselves, right? If the
Yeah.
weather is 10 degrees but it's sunny, you're going to wear something different than if the weather is 20 degrees and windy, right? If
Mm-hmm.
there's 10 inches on the snow or 30 centimeters, that changes how what boots you're going to wear, right?
Yeah.
And this is the same thing that like I try to showcase in my code that yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we are more than computers. We do think logically, we do code ourselves. And then once you bring it into that logic, then people are like, "Oh wow, it demystified." So that's what I like
Yeah.
about creative coding. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I feel like for a lot of people, if they're coming into and they're like, "Oh, like how do I start with coding? Like how do I get into it?" And it can be very overwhelming, especially with like, the language and the code, but like when you put it like that, it becomes a little less daunting um to get into it.
And then as you see, I'm going back and forth between the two. Might add some real words. So
Hmm.
let's just add colors. Let's have a nice blend to show the mix. And what I like to do with some of this is that then we're able to go with like, oh, how do we decipher a language and what's the purposes of that, right?
Hmm.
So I think I'm done now. Logic, random, Creative Commons. You see right there on the side,
Hmm.
we have a whole language, right? So really, gotta. I'm just putting things together. So one time, me and some friends, we used this tool, and then we did a performance where we actually said some of these words out loud with no context, and then tried to
Yeah.
come up with pure translations for them later.
Oh, and how did that go? How did that turn out?
That was actually very interesting.
So right now it's like you're kind of just writing like the poem with the
Yeah,
words that we created.
yeah. I think I might have went a little too ham. So yeah. So you could do stuff because I think it's good reading some of the stuff extra. But as you can see, we're going in, so it could change the colors,
Hmm.
and then you can mix these words together with the other ones.
Oh.
So what I like to do with it, like I said, like what we there, build our own language, take that. So if some people want to get into like coding but want to have like more fun and start and try to like get their own customized experience, you can do it through that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you can do that. So make your own language, put it through inverse, and yeah. And my creative coding like specialty, as you're seeing, is live coding. So we just saw with poetry and this, and now let's add some animation, and then let's put both of them together. So
What is this
What is
website?
this? Oh,
this
we
website
have
at
to
the moment is Live Code Lab,
Live
live
Code Lab.
code.
.net. And the other one was sound. Let me just put it in the chat.
I got it. I'll put it in there. What was the first one?
I'm gonna put it. I'm just copy and paste. This is samples. Second one was inverse. Yeah, and then this one is Live Code Lab. Yeah, and the reason why I'm going with Live Code Lab at the moment is because I want to show some animation. Because I just showed music, I just showed poetry, language design. So I'm just trying to go through all of it, and then we're gonna have some fun.
All right, amazing. I just
So,
want to flag that you put that in the private chat. I'm going to move it over, but
oh yeah,
yeah, it's the top one.
okay. So as you can see, typical live coding languages, there's always examples. And then as you can see with what I'm doing, I'm gonna cook up something right now, right? So, right, so turns. And this is like, when people say, "Oh, I don't know when we learn linear algebra and all that stuff." This is where learning like linear algebra, trigonometry, and all this stuff comes into. Right now, I'm just going to have random. So basically, what this code does, this is modulo divider. So basically, I'm giving this a timer. So every 6 seconds, it's going to go from 0 to 6. So if it's one, so if it's 7, the remainder is 1. Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Okay.
just the math part, I guess. Somewhat like, okay, so you took a chunk of
This is modulo. This is modulo division. So regular division, you try to get the whole, right? 6 divided by 2 equals 3.
Okay.
In modulo, 6/2 would equal 0 because it's what is left over. So if it's so modulo 2 means that if it's divided by 2,
Right.
there's no leftover, 0. But if you do 5 divided by 2, you have 1 left over, so the answer is going to be 1. So I use that as a timer. So let's say I did this, 26. You're going to see in the turns right now, it's going to give to 26 because it's going to go like, let's say right now the time is 50. 50 divided by 26, you have a leftover of 24 to be whole. So it's going to go, so it only goes in terms of 0 to 26. I hope I explained that well. So like, it's like, I like to call it inverse division, where we're trying to get the leftovers. And for me, in like live coding languages, I realized that just helps me get unique loops.
Right.
And then I add the 0.5, so it never becomes 0. And whenever you see me code in any language, I love this. This is my go-to time or modulo because I just like natural loops. So as you can see, it's naturally looping.
Okay.
But now I'm going to do the same concept as you see. So this says that if the leftover is greater than 10, I'm going to do animation style paint over. Else animation style blur.
Okay, can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm not sure if it's a stupid. Okay, so the math, my brain kind of, goes like, okay, sure, with the math. But then I see the other stuff, like you're writing in normal language. I recognize those words. I know what blur is.
Yeah, so that's what's cool about like language design, and that's why I always start workshops with this. When we were making our own language, because one thing you start realizing when we're designing products language, if the creator wanted to be accessible, it will be accessible. So it's one of those things that, and I think this is the whole thing about Creative Commons, is where do we start with the accessibility? Is it in the end, or do we implement it in this? That's why I love all the live coding languages. When I get to Hydra, you're going to see. You probably will tell me that, oh, I don't know code, but you know what an animation style is. Like paint over, since this is made for artists or creatives, paint over, you're thinking as an artist. Blur, you're thinking. And I don't know if you see what paint over does. It paints over itself. But
so you're actually kind of commanding it with like normal witchy spell language, like you're like, do this and then do that, and but there's some math in there.
Yeah.
And this is specific to live coding. So you spoke about live coding earlier, like as if it was its own language family. Is that the case?
In a way. So it's based like this is based off JavaScript and many other things. Okay. But it's just that in live coding, a lot of the creators decided to be creative.
Right.
So even though it's the same JavaScript, same Python, some of the terminology is made in a way to have live feedback. So that instant gratification, that's what like live coding does for me. Because if I type, especially this one in particular, sometimes it's a nonsense. You see, when I type in something, you see it comes ASAP.
Yeah.
Well, what's cool is it kind of gives sense to know, like, whereas like with so much code stuff, from little I understand, is that you can do so many things and then you have to spend so much time going through it and finding out like why it's not doing the thing that you're trying to get it to do. In this case, it doesn't matter because even the mistakes are part of the, the misuse of the language or the tool and see
exactly.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it sort of like contradicts what you really want in software engineering and programming, because software engineering, you want things to work precisely. But if you see, I'm working with a lot of randoms, I'm working with a lot of, I don't even know how this thing is going to look. But in real, like when you're doing some other stuff outside of creativity, you don't want this flexibility. But for me, I do want this flexibility. And now you're going to see me start using, like, you see costs and probably stuff that you've seen like in grade 9 trigonometry.
That I removed from my brain. Oh.
Yeah, so now we're going in.
Oh, you just told it to do that. Yeah. Rotate, move, right?
Yeah.
And is the only export or like saving method of this like screen grabbing it, or is there an actual
yeah. So some of them, that's the thing. Unless I use like a whole JavaScript in, that's the thing. So like if I wanted to, I would have to screen it. And this is where I get into problems right now, as you can see, because I did not know I was going to do this. Obviously, I did not plan that. And that's the one catch when doing some of this is just you really got to be careful of your numbers. So right now, I just, when you see me highlight, whenever you see that, that's just me. And
very cool.
But what's cool about this one is that this one I can mix music. So hold up, let me try to do something from screen. Oh, I have it muted for that reason. Okay. So this is to try them all. So let me just mute it. So okay, so the particular thing with this language is that everything comes right away. So right now, some stuff might not sound harmonized because I'm just opening it up. Because you see, so you see where it has these double slash? That is to calm it out. So that's like basically telling the parser or the computer, ignore that for now. So so let me show you. So you see right now, if I do that, you hear nothing, right?
Yeah.
Out of these things, which one do you want to hear? Alien beep, beep, bing, Cosmo, crash.
Is Hoover just
Okay, let's go.
Is it just like a vacuum?
And let's go with Penta.
And the sounds that are already there is just what it is that you like. You can't tell it to create like new sounds.
Oh no! In this one I can. In Sonic Pi I could.
Okay.
So yeah, in this one, this is the going. But what I like about this one, I can combine the audio visual and make it more apparent. And when you see, I don't know if you're familiar with music, so beat sequences, and it's something very used in a lot of live coding, creative coding languages, where you go with on and offs. So when you see the X//XXX, it's like X, off, XXXX, off. And some researcher, Ashley from McGill in 2005, I want to believe, he found that a lot of different music comes with different Euclidean rhythms. So if it's like from Afro-Caribbean, it might have a faster tempo than some other regions, like 7/12. So I'm going to show that in a bit later. But that's why you see me play with the different things. Like,
And the Cumbia code from earlier, you can't drag that. You can't bring that into here.
yeah, that's the. So let me just do. Okay, let me delete everything else.
And was that we're hearing, is that preloaded stuff, or this is your project file?
Oh, this is my project file at the moment. So let me, and then I'm just going to show a ball.
Oh. So you can tell this ball to essentially go to like the beat of the music that you already have.
Yeah. And then I can change the BPM.
And you created these sounds with these words and numbers, or you?
Yep.
Right.
Else. Silver, gray, black.
Because you're just like creating a sequence right now,
Yeah.
as if you were like, it's like as if you like already like had all like these assets together and like you threw them onto like in an editing software and then you could like put them together, but you're just doing it.
Yeah, and then I use the editing software later on to get more precise timings.
Okay.
What editing software do you use?
Oh, Adobe, Premiere, also sometimes DaVinci, and OBS. Sometimes I would do live edits in OBS.
So you like being very multilingual, or like you don't feel your brain pretzeling by doing
Exactly.
And then you would do sort of just like a screen recording of this to...
Exactly, and then I will go into something else. But so you see, the thing is that it looks like it's audio reactive, but I actually had to do some of those sequences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're going to go into another language. This is by Olivia Jack. And this is like one of the first live code in visual languages I got into.
How do you find them? Like, is it just...
That's my question.
Like, is it just like through people that like, you know, are you actively searching for them?
All of that. Hold up. Let's go here. So also there's this. I'm going to drop this in the comments. There's like a whole awesome list thing. I'm going to put it in the private chat and then you can post it in. So yeah, see, it has a whole language of different stuff that you want to do. And I'm part of different communities. There's Discords and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But as you can see, this is live coding and there's one for creative coding.
Hmm.
And the difference.
So how do you?
Sorry.
Like, how do you like say like you're like, oh, I'm gonna create this like sort of project. Are you how do are you like active like you're deciding like which one would work for like what it is that you're
It
doing?
depends,
Like
cause
each of
like
them.
it depends, cause some of them are better for soundtrack. It depends how much code I want to write. Because all of them have their benefits. So I try not to be. I try to be language agnostic, like tool agnostic. So depending on what I want to do, right? And then the order. So let me
Okay.
do some stuff. So this is things. Once again, you might not know what I'm doing, but this is why I love how Olivia said this language. You might know rotate. You might know mult or diff or OSC. And then if I told you that this is based on analog like symbols and modulators, then you're like, oh, right, modulate. OSC is oscillator, rotate. If I do scale, and then if I do scale, I'm going with my homie, time modular. Like you're going to see it all the time in my code. It really is a staple of mine.
Nice.
So you see, when I did that, it takes the time to blow up.
Oh.
Okay, and hold up, I haven't used this language in a while, so now we might see a little potential screw up. Okay, I want to do init screen. Okay, now you see in my screen. So what I'm going to do right now is so you see, so like overlays and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let me move that.
So you
Wait,
brought
sorry,
in
how did you do that again?
Because in Hydra, there's a thing called init screen, which I'm allowed to take a screen capture. But what's cool, I have learned this, is that you can use Hydra since it's JavaScript on your phone. So I have, how phones have multiple cameras or even computers. So let's say you had a 10 camera setup. What you can do is you can do something called init cam. And then depending on what camera you want, you can have all your cameras pop up. So like I have one walk, which I'm walking with my phone and both cameras are on the same time. Because I decided to do something where in wintertime, I wanted to break the Guinness Book for records of like coded performance. So I was playing with my phone. And then I'm like, oh, it would be cool to have like these coded walks. So I will take my phone and code on my phone while doing walks and have them both on. So now you see this. Hold up. So now so while I have this, so I have the init screen. So let me take pre-written code I have. Because everything I did so far was freestyling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now let me go into one of my like thousands of files. Let me do that. Okay. I think that's cool. So yeah, so then if I go back, you see it shows here. Then I can do a double blend. Or let me do a diff.
It's amazing. I'm so confused.
Can I? Yeah. Can I do this? Does this work? No. Oh, because I did init cam. True. Init screen. Oh, it's a capital. That's the one problem with programming languages, capitals. Let me go back here.
As in they're not allowed? Or?
Yeah, like they're very sense positive, right? Okay,
Oh.
so now what we're seeing here, it's me. Okay, so what I did here is that I blended this, and then when you do video editing, when you do difference. So
Yeah.
this is different. So right now, why you're seeing the different colors is because I overlaying twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm overlaying one with a blend and overlaying the other one with a difference. Then I decided to do 0.5. So when you're using Adobe Premiere video editing, you can scale down. So I just wrote that in code.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then
Because
I
I'm.
can do this. And I can do like scroll 0.5. Then I have to go back here and it's going to scroll. Well, it should scroll. Okay, hold up. Let me go F. Let me get out of F11. Yeah. So you see it's scrolling slightly.
That is otherworldly.
Yeah. And then normally when I would do that, I would have the music playing in the background. I would have poetry. I would do like a freestyle poem with the generated language.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's one thing. So that's how I collage stuff. And like I said, you can do the same thing with code, with like your camera and stuff. Hold up 1 second. Let me just stop sharing.
On the internet.
Yeah, like I'm going to show you a couple playlists. I'm going to just show a couple playlists. Napo Remo, Napo Gemo. There we go. Okay. I think I have to do this same thing because there is sound. Okay, so yeah. So there's something called NaPoWriMo where people make stuff with like write books, and I like to take the code. So everything you're seeing is like poetry version. So what I just show you, this is how like one time I was doing it. So this is just a Google Doc. If it runs. And then you see 2 lines of code. So all I'm doing is taking a Google Doc, and then you know how I showed you before the overlaying? So I overlaid a Google Doc, so it made more finesse of the Google Doc. So all I'm doing right now is just typing in the Google Doc live, but you see it adds like a performative touch.
Wow.
So yeah, you're gonna see right now.
Yeah, Google Doc has never been so cool.
Yeah.
What? You just took the most boring format and made it like
Yeah. And then you could see like purpose of the words. And then I'm obviously performing in the background. Because yeah, so I will perform. So but as you can see, if you look at the code, yeah, there's a lot, but you realize I'm really just scrolling, repeat, time, like my time thing that I said I always do.
Mm-hmm.
So really in this you can just do it like that. I'm like, oh, this makes like the poetry, you see? So just a simple poem now becomes performative.
Mm. Mm.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And that's how some of the collaging. But I know we have bias towards the collage, so now we're gonna go to the collage thing. Oh, hold up. Let me go back to like this is another one with the same. This one I use the kaleidoscope function in it. So you see, once again, not that much code. Like you see on the top, that's all the code I wrote to make the visual change.
Mm. So for this specific, why do you keep the code at the top there as opposed to just showing like the
Because for
final
this I'm
product?
showing the live coding. So the things that
Okay.
it's the same thing like freestyle rap. I gotta show people I'm actually freestyling.
Yeah.
So you see, so this is what's cool. So it's like you see, and then I don't have to do much. Because this one, as you can see, I have the speed factor, I have the collide, and then I'm typing. So I found like it makes like generic writing
Mm-hmm.
look cool.
Mm.
Oh,
And in
that
live
is
coding, you
so
show your code. So yeah.
okay. That's like because I'm thinking about like if I was to do this in like After Effects or like Premiere or something, it would take me some time. But like this is like happening like instantaneous
Yeah. And that's
through
why I do it.
the code.
So with this, I realized that my editing time actually shortens because I can do some of the stuff, play it, and then go on editing. But right now, we're going to go into what I think will be the favorite for all, because I did promise last week that we are going to do some collaging.
Some YouTubey.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, like, so if you did that in Adobe, like the text, like getting the text to maintain its like text, like legibility would be madness. Like you would have to. Wow.
Yeah, it would, and just to like animate and just like create the shapes and then animate it and do all those things on the time that takes so much time.
I haven't done. Okay. So that's boring. Okay.
Where
So
are we now?
right now, I'm in live coding YouTube.
Okay.
But this is like one, I realize this is one of my own works. So is there a YouTube video, y'all? Like,
I'll get a clip from the Heathers.
It's a running theme. Live coding.
Yeah.
oh, do you know the whole movie is live on YouTube?
Really?
Is it, or that was a statement?
No, it is. So we're gonna do. So I have done this before. So I have done this for Halloween. All right, let me refresh this page. So what I have done for Halloween once is that I have taken creative domain horror movies and did like a live reimagining of the movies. And right now, what we're going to do the same thing for the last bit for header. So you know those like those random letters on YouTube, like after the YouTube.com, you just put it in this. So you see, what this is going to do right now. It is going to create.
What?
I am going to mute right now. I'm going to mute all. We are going to play. We're going to play all.
Can I ask what this does to advertising content? Like if you're looping something within like a certain whatever, does it mean that no ads ever show up? Like you can kind of like jump around them and like avoid them.
I have ad blocker.
Ah, okay.
But if you don't have an ad blocker,
and the ads will pop up. But what's cool is that then if you're screen recording, then you go into your like Adobe Premiere
and then just cut it out.
But if you know where the ads are or how they're coming, you can you can. So right now, you see, right now we're gonna watch the thing. So right now I'm gonna loop. I'm gonna loop it at video 1 from 3 seconds to short. So video 1, we're gonna loop it at 400 because it's a movie. So since I know it's a movie, I have more freedom, right? So this scene is it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see 1 is gonna loop 20 seconds from the 400 second. So we're gonna do that. So right now that's gonna loop. And not only is that gonna loop, we're gonna make it slow. So we're gonna make this go at a speed of 30% of the regular speed.
You love slowing things down.
You see, right now we're gonna slow that down. Okay, then what we're gonna do? Then there's something also called jump. You know, like jump cuts. We're gonna jump cut. So let me jump cut 0. So right now what I'm doing is gonna jump. So sometimes I just go. We're gonna jump cut. And we're gonna make that part of the movie fast. Let's go 10 times the speed. Let's go 50 because we know it's a long movie, so I won't run out of stuff.
Yeah, and the end of it gets so dark compared to the
right? So also what we're gonna do right now, you see the bottom right? I want that to go in reverse. So we can also go reverse. Let's go reverse like this. So as you can see, one is going backwards. One is going like the one on the bottom right is going regular space, and this. And what do I use this for? Sometimes I will use this to do like edits of like, when they ask you for a thumbnail for like a film. So I would have like upload it privately on YouTube and then have like 4 different angles from that, wipe out the code and use that as the picture. And I have used this to edit a film once, like a film that we're working on. I had this and then I do that and then and then sometimes I will play with this. It's a performance.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask because we have it right now in the quadrants. Can you add more? Can you take away? Can you create different shapes?
Yep, I can add one.
Oh, one more. You're making an odd number.
Oh, it won't be odd.
Oh,
It's gonna be 9. Because it's going to add 1 by 1, so it's actually going to be 9. And then I can replay all.
Can you, because how you were like overlaying stuff on the other sites, can that be applied to this here as well, or?
Oh, true, a YouTube link. So you see, this is a default one. Oh no, that video is not. So give me another movie.
Well, we're in October, like some sort of Halloween. Maybe Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that.
Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, you see where it says Q? So we're going to queue up Nightmare on Elm Street on the following quadrants. So that should queue it up.
Oh.
And then I can play it at different times. So yeah. But now, since I know it's 011, you see where I had to jump before? I'm just going to jump the Nightmare stuff. So in programming, there's something called an array. An array are sets. So when I have the square brackets, it's basically saying this is set. So right now I'm treating in this 0 through 7 as if they're one entity.
Right.
So then I can. Oh, I didn't play it. I have to play all. All has to be played.
Oh, I bet you can see a million possibilities for this, Sonia, with your own footage and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you can see, every time it highlights into yellow, I'm actually like.
You're like activating it.
Yeah. So sometimes, and then I go, I love doing this.
Oh, that's so cool.
So now we
And
have.
can you fully show this without the text? Like, is there a way to hide the code? I mean, I understand what you were saying in terms of the aesthetic and the.
Oh yeah. So after a while, if I get the right code, jumps, loops, then I just like.
Oh.
And then it would be the same thing of just screen recording?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
The only thing is that you just have to pick the right algorithm and all that so that it doesn't get boring. But you could also add like JavaScript and random stuff to go in. So let me go. So we have Nightmare, and then so whenever I do this, let me have 8. Whenever I do this, let me go. I would normally also add a little poem. I don't know why this is not jumping. But You see, yeah, and then I can make things. So yeah, and then I can let me change the speed of a few. 3, 5, 8, 10. Oh yeah. And then
Amazing.
what I can do is hold up. Go back to Hydra.
Hydra.
Okay, let's check this code by floor before we go. Can't find my mouse. Okay,
When
found my mouse.
take code, like you're borrowing code from somebody else, do you, and then you're putting it into a project that you're doing, and then you're like screening your project, or you're submitting it places, are you crediting that person that you borrowed the code from?
Yeah, if you follow my my Instagram, every time I post something, I always tell you what tool I'm using. Like I always credit the tool. Like if you look at because I do have a daily practice on Instagram for the last 3 years, and I always credit the tool I'm using. So you see, now I have the live code through that.
Oh, okay.
And then I can do diff.
What in the hell?
And I do diff.
This is mind blowing.
So you see.
Oh, this is amazing.
And what is it that makes that possible? Like the fact that you're bringing in these things over, is it the where we're at, like the Hydra, or like?
Oh, that one is the Hydra, because Hydra can take it from any tab. It's something within Chrome, and I think Firefox as well.
Oh, because you were overlaying tabs.
Yeah, I'm overlaying tabs.
Oh my God. Your computer doesn't crash a lot? My computer is my computer crashes it a lot less.
Yeah, so then I can do these. This work? No, I'm missing a comma somewhere. No, I'm not missing it. Oh, okay, let's see what I'm missing.
This is incredible. Where does your stuff like live its best life? You know what I mean? Like, is it in like a, because it seems like the stuff we were looking at earlier was like, okay, that belongs on like a massive screen in a club or something. And then this is like, now I'm in a totally different.
It has deviated. It depends, right? So now let me do a thing. So here's my blog post. Let me I don't post everything on my blog, but I do like some stuff I do believe lives. So I do a lot of challenges here. So some stuff like this is one thing where I have like got away from the screen. The rubber band series. I can drop the link for this as well. So this is like me translating code, the color to code, or where I have like rules that turn into this. So you see like this, pin switch yellow. These are like rules that I made. Then I have a random generator, and then I turn them into this. So something like this will live as an installation. Some stuff I have done performances in a dome. Sometimes outdoor mapping projection. Some stuff are just open mic. Because everything that you're seeing, I also try to also add always poetry. Sometimes so I don't have to type as much code. So everything I'm doing, like, when we're looking at this, right? Oh, did I delete the Hydra thing? Yes, I did. Or when I would do this, I would do a poem. Be like, how are you feeling today? Are you feeling like you have to jump in the water like the girl in blue on the upper corner? Are we trying to play croquette like the girl in the yellow as the day is warmer? Or are we trying to swim in the middle to the end? Or are we trying to be like the circular angles of the New World picture as it bends? Or we're trying to show the overlay as Hydra where two entities of code blend. So I don't like see like freestyle off that. So it helps that I also freestyle code. So I never have to be fully prepared, but I always have to be like mentally prepared, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but so you were like you did like freestyle, like rapping and like writing poetry, and then you sort of just translated that into the work that you do with coding.
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then I realized that I can do three-way freestyling.
Yeah,
That's where it really got interesting. So let me.
Oh, that many open browsers of the other day make total sense. Like you can handle a lot mentally.
Well, yeah, a bit, and then let me show the other one here. So this is like my main sound one. So like, you see this? I have like stuff where I would have text turn into sound, or that whole color thing where I turn color into sound. Let me see if I can load that up. So yeah, you were asking before the files. This is like you see, like let me go into my Colorscape.
What is an RB file?
RB is Ruby. So this is my Colorscape file. As you can see, or different code. Are we going for different code? Yes.
A lot more organized than I am.
So you see,
I won't even. Yeah.
Okay, so this is based off the meal butternut squash golden curry. So you cannot see the numbers, but so curry is a color, butternut squash is a color. And if you want to know how I know this, let me go here. Color hex, the list of colors. I went on this website, and then I found out how some colors are. So there is, I don't know if this one's going to have it. Oh no, this one doesn't have it. Curry color. Because you know Crayola make their own colors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Curry color hex code. So you see? Curry spice is this. So you take this. I go into this. And then you see, right? You see all these numbers. Then I take a piece of Python code and scrape all of this down into a spreadsheet. Let me show that spreadsheet right now. Hold up 1 second.
So you kind of organize those colors separately so you can use them whenever without doing what you just showed us.
Exactly. And then I turn them into this. So you see this one? I turn the curry. You see, I take the red value of the curry, and then the yellow of the curry, and then the hue. And then you see green, and then I find a way to divide the red and the green. So I sonify. So there, like, you know how there's data science and data sonification? So this is sonification. But if you realize curry, butternut squash is also food and also color. So I take the color of the food, and then you see saturation. And then in the other one, sometimes I will take calorie and stuff. So I do have like animation that shows you the calorie versus the RGB value. But we can get there. So right now, what you're listening to is my interpretation of butternut squash curry.
Wow.
Why does it sound like that?
So when you say your interpretation,
with the numbers, so it is still data.
Okay, yeah.
You see, I'm following rules, so I can take like other values. So you see, this is tea green. So I show you the tea green from a red standpoint, a blue standpoint, and a green standpoint. So this is 4 levels of tea green. And why is it not green tea? Because the official color is tea green. But we all know I meant green tea.
Oh.
So this is so obviously for me using those sounds is obviously like a little pun of my sonification, because you know how sometimes when we go over healthy is distorted. So I wanted to play with that with the natural entities found in the thing.
And I saw on that site you can output the audio.
Yes.
Like directly from.
Yeah, and then I have hold up. So to explain this one, I have my meal plan. Wait, hold up. So yeah, I think you can see this graph. This is all the data things of where I have like RGB versus calorie, or calorie per meal. Well, let's go into this. Yeah. So first, as every great data scientist, I had to categorize, and then obviously I can't really choose what I chose, right? Because I have a limit that it has to be a color and a real recipe. Because some people are going to hate. Some people are going to be like, that's not real. So I made sure to follow the steps. So if someone ever told me it's not data science or anything, here's the proof.
Yeah.
So I realized I have a lot of dessert, drink, chicken, and goat. So obviously here I show you what's in the chicken. So my chicken, I have curry chicken with rice, deconstructed jollof, lemon, pepper, salted chicken. So that are all 4 colors. Like lemon the color, pepper the color, salt is the color, chicken is the color. So you see, this is the meal breakdown. Obviously, I have to show you how many meals are in. So 10 meals are seafood, 9 drinks, 12 desserts, 13 chicken, with like ingredients in. This is where it starts getting interesting. So I wanted to start playing like, when people go to a restaurant. So I wanted people to look at these type of charts. So right now we're seeing the average RGB value. So I wanted to play with RGB being like the calorie. Like, are you in the mood for a high red meal? Are you in the mood for a high blue? Do you want a cyan base meal? So this is like how it goes in. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Then I show you the average CIE Hunter value. People ask me what that really is. It's a color value system that we don't often use. Yeah. But I love how the charts go because there's also negative. So it just looks nice to have.
What are you?
Now this is the beauty. And this is where the beauty comes in. So you see all the colors?
Yeah.
This is the actual this is the actual colors and their values. So you see, this is actually the tea green color. This is the peach cobbler. This is the watermelon grape fuzz. This is mint mojitos, curry goat. These are the averages of colors. So this is the real colors, because once again, I have to be truthful, so people like this. So you see, these are the actual colors. So you see this? It's the curry chicken with rice. High H lab, you see this? So maybe you want a low H lab meal. Maybe you want negative. Maybe you want positive. Up to you. So I really want people to look at this and like think. Maybe you want some Marlowe red. You see, it has a low H lab value, but has a high H lab 2, but low H3. So
where does this live? Like, how would folks, if they were like, I want to, okay. Because I feel like this is something that you would really need to like delve into and like spend time sort of taking in all of this and like the data.
And if you don't know what you want, I got you covered as well. There's like a whole Twitter bot that every 6 hours like spits out menus.
Oh, that is amazing.
Like maybe you want for breakfast pineapple lemon ice cream.
Oof, yes, please. But
maybe you want some deconstructed jollof.
I love that it's deconstructed jollof.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm not trying to have like no one after me. Like, because my thing is that I want it to
Yeah.
be like real enough. Where's my
Mhm.
meal plan? Did I leave my meal plan?
Oh my goodness! I know it's 9:15, and I do have to.
Yeah.
We'll have to wrap up soon because we're at Interaccess.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then,
If not, I would not. Yeah, I don't. I
okay.
do.
And then this will be the last part, maybe that's interesting. So
I
you
want
see
to go
these
to a whole
dots.
food museum exhibit about
You
this.
see like
Yes,
this.
I'm.
So I started realizing that the X and Y value of meals actually corresponded well with the map. So I started changing the X and Y values into geographic coordinates. So you
I
see
was
the
gonna ask
longitude and
about that.
latitude. So I made that like I realized that it just worked. So you see, these are where they live.
Hmm. Oh, and are you gonna? Is this something that you're gonna keep building upon? Because looking at this map, and especially with like the color values that you're using, like this whole map can be filled with um
Oh yeah. I have done AI and all the okay, yeah. So like sometimes I have a tendency to go overboard with stuff. So I have added AI stuff. So like you see, I added the sculptural relics. So you see, these are all relics of the world.
hmm
These are like AI prompts. Before, like you know how now people did prompt engineering. Before that was very very popular. I used a tool called Pixray
Mm.
to make like animated deities of the world. Then I use something
hmm
art breeder to make gems of where some of these foods live because they're also citizens. Then like I wanted to give them symbiotic life, so I use art breeder for this color of red. That like because it's a two-part thing. So this is where you see the color and food and how it bred. So this is like it stems from that color ACOD13, and then we have off breeds of that offsprings. We have mythology. If you check it, tech analysis of what year they came from, because I gave them years for my year generator. So yeah, but there's a lot of tools that like give you random latitude, longitude, or give you a random assortment of years. So I just used a lot of those tools in this. Like you see, like I gave them all the meals. I gave them a human destination, nature, and something else that I can't remember at the moment. So decide to make mythology. It's a whole world.
You've got world singular. I don't think so. Yeah, there's like a whole. You got plural. Yeah, and it's very kinesthetic. Like there's just so many. There's all the experience. All the tactile and yeah, digital and visual and symbolic, and so much translation between all these languages, and this kind of search for more and more yeah depth, and like covering the like ness of these things, like the like t-ness or like the whatever. I don't know, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to thank you and wrap up because 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 it has to end sometime, though I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how you ever stop. Like, I mean, in terms of your own
Yeah.
process, to see your dreams, you should be. I don't know what happens in your dreams, but or they're like really boring because your life is so interesting. But thank you so very much for
Thank you.
showing your
Yeah.
process. There's so many links there. I want to just like scour through it and play with
hmm
this whole world of things. Can I ask you, how deep of a world is it? Like, how long did it take before when you got involved in it, and now clearly you know
Okay.
it quite well? Like,
Okay. So the how it before this, how it started actually started with spatial because I said, what if I made the rooms have sound, color, sound? So then it started with that. So that's what I did in the cut the tear the remix. I think is the proper friend, and like that. Then after that, I was like, oh, I should have used CSV to make real. And then I'm like, let me add food, let me make it a challenge. Then I got into it then because I just wanted to learn more Python because I'm new to that platform.
Mm.
Then I'm like, oh, I can turn this back into performances. So then I got performances, got installations, gave talks on it. And then this is like maybe the second, third world I built for performance. So I'm like, oh, let me just go deeper. Then I got dates. Then I got XY. Then I used AI. Then I'm like, oh, I can make different planets and different worlds within this world. I watch a lot of anime. I watch a lot of cartoons. So I'm like, oh, if the inhabitants came from the original 8 that I used in the first thing, then maybe they can have breeds. So maybe it's like different tribes, or maybe somehow that's food. Like maybe first there was no food, there was just color, and then it got into food. Like build natural hierarchy, like natural AI. Like I built this world, and then I'm like, then I started calling myself a world builder because I'm like, building worlds is fun.
Yeah. How do you, I guess, well, like in this sense, like when you're like world building, this is my last question, I promise. As you're like world building, but some of the other stuff that you're doing, it seems that there's just like endless opportunities and different techniques and codes and things to use. How do you know when you're like done? Because it's like you're continuously at, is it something where it's like you're never going to be done? It's just in your process, it's just something that'll continue going, especially like, a new thing will come out, like a new AI stuff, and like it just keeps going. How do you know when you're just like
Sometimes I
down?
stop, but sometimes I don't because that's why like it's very important that I save the pieces of code because sometimes I go back. Because some tools I just use like I don't try to master tools anymore. I just try to find ways for them to be effective and efficient in my plotline. Like when I first learned live coding on YouTube, it was just to do collaging, right?
Mm.
Then one time, like last Halloween or 2 Halloweens ago, I'm like, oh, I can just make a live film. So then I pretend I was this like outer space traveler and I did like this is the true story of zombies. But then I had technical issues, but I used the technical issues as a way like, okay, I'm back. Like the zombie overlords don't want you to know the truth that like the old movies that we used to talk trash about in the days are actually documentary. So now you found old footage, like Creative Commons footage, to like be like, this is the proof that zombies actually come from the moon, and that's why we don't go to the moon ever again. Or like the language one. I was just learning how to do that language thing. I never taught. Then I had a workshop and I'm like, oh, let's all build our own languages and then find ways to talk about it and then talk about like how there's like a Western or Eastern worldview. And then I went into one performance and used that in my own world. So I'm like, if I build a language, I could make the grammar. And then the more I learn about different cultures, the more I'm like, oh, there's different ways to speak. I learned some stuff about indigenous languages, and then other people were telling me more about that. So then it made like, so at this point, it's like, even if I'm not coding, I'm still learning from sociology, psychology, biology. I'm learning from everyone because since I'm building world, any information is good information. Like even misinformation is interesting on how rumors and myths come along.
Yeah, memetics and stuff. Yeah, my God.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. I have so many. I have so many more, but I mean, people have like families and stuff, and need to probably leave the gallery. Thank you to Interaccess for hosting us. Thank you so much, Sonia, for last week and for guest hosting. For our good friend Sammy K, Spatial-esque. Yeah, thank you, Kofi, for all of that. I don't know how many hours you have in the days that you live on where it's like I want to live there, because wow, yeah, really amazing stuff. I want to play around with that some more. So thank you all. Thanks to EQ Bank, thanks to Creative Commons,
Thank you.
and to all the people out there sharing all the pieces that
Yeah.
help you do what all the things that you do so magically with them.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much. It was fun.
Thank you.
It's fun.
So much fun. Have a good night.
Night.
Good night.